أستلهم من فخامة السيدة مريم بنت الداه لأقول: لتكوني أنت لتصنعي لنفسك اختيارات، عليك أن تخذلي البعض، أن تكون لك شجاعة عدم إرضاء الآخرين، لكونهم كتبوا كل شيء حول انتظاراتهم منك تحديداً. وهي أشياء كثيرة خارج انتظارات الجميع. اختارت طريقاً جديدة، وطناً جديداً، وهوية جديدة بأرض جديدة، أفغانستان لوحدها تجسد معنى حرية الاختيار وإرادة التغيير. تشاركنا احتفالية الإيسيسكو فخامة السيدة رولا غاني، السيدة الأولى لجمهورية أفغانستان الإسلامية، بهذه الكلمة.
Thank you. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate, Your Excellencies, participant in this ISESCO launching ceremony, Year of the Women 2021, Women for the Future, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. It is with great pleasure that I'm joining my voice to yours in celebrating the achievements of women in our respective countries, and actually all over the Islamic world. Over the past few years, women in Afghanistan have made remarkable progress. It is not so long ago that journalists used to claim that Afghan women were weak and were isolated and helpless. These women have slowly but steadily emerged from the seclusion in their homes to become visible in public areas and then to assume responsibilities in the government and in the private sector. The issue of peace inspired them to join the political debate and do their share in calling for an end to the daily violence. Today, not only are they capable of speaking for themselves, they also speak for all the nation. The 4 women sitting at the peace negotiating table in Doha are a case in point. Far from being a symbolic presence, they take part in the discussions with the Taliban, contribute to the argumentation, and regularly interact with international observers. It took the Afghan women 2 to 3 years to reach that stage. At first, they repeatedly called on the government to ensure the security of everyday life. Then they started focusing on how they could themselves contribute to social peace within their own social environment. In other words, how to unlearn the violent reflexes of the preceding decades of war and relearn how to live together in peace and harmony. When President Ghani made his courageous peace offering in February 2018, 1 year before the start of the Doha talks in March 2019, and announced that his government was ready to sit down with the Taliban without any preconditions, every Afghan celebrated the news, and Afghan women in particular started discussing what peace should look like. A group of determined activists of various denominations came together and decided to visit each of our 34 provinces to seek the opinions and voices of provincial women. The result of these provincial consultations was the Afghan Women National Consensus for Peace, held in February 2019, in the presence of 3,500 women from all 34 provinces, and the validation of a 15-article national declaration that summed up the concerns of the 15,000 women who had been consulted. 2 months later, at the Afghan National Law Jirga for Peace of April 29, 2019, 30% of the selected participants were women, of which 2 were deputy to the chair, 2 were secretary to the chair, and 1 was the official spokesperson. Likewise, of the 51 working groups to which the Jirga participants were assigned, 13 were led by a woman, and 21 had a woman as the rapporteur. I share this context with you to show that through their efforts, although their efforts have not been consistently covered by the international media, Afghan women have indeed been very much involved at several levels of the Afghan peace process. They are involved at the level of advocacy, both national and international, at the level of training for mediation and conflict resolution, at the level of consulting and networking for a unified vision for peace, and at the level of taking part in national jirgas on peace. Afghan women have found their voice and are not afraid to raise it. They found fault with the initial Doha setup as it did not make any allowance for women's participation and was questioning the retention of their recent achievements. They issued declarations, wrote op-eds in the international press, and held debates on TV. Finally, through contacts with sister organizations in the US, they successfully lobbied Congress. And in 2 closed congressional hearings, it was made clear to the relevant parties that Afghan women must be included in the Doha talks. Afghan women should be congratulated for their persistence, their tenacity, their courage. True, the present government, by giving them easier access to health, education, and legal services, and by fostering freedom of speech, has opened for them groundbreaking opportunities and has encouraged them to live up to their potential. But we should recognize that they function in an environment where obstacles still remain and male-centered mentalities often work against their progress. And they need to remain vigilant. The most recent peace proposals seem to call for an interim government that would rewrite the country's constitution. This could mean that Article 22, which is the only existing legal guarantee that safeguards Afghan women's human rights and achievements, could be thrown out. Let us hope that peace will not happen at the expense of the Afghan women. ومن الله التوفيق.